usually do things the same day. I'm going to work on doing a little bit more planning. But what I want to talk to you guys about is you got to frame it. You got to always frame, people say, I was framed, in the TV show, framed means usually in that context that people have been made to believe that someone has done something that they did not do. And this term is also used in advertisement and public relations, where it's like, this is how you frame it. This is how you frame the story, which is basically about shaping public perception. And the most basic meaning of the term frame is in many ways the foundation of something, the frame of some kind of structure, or the frame of a picture, which is, the icing on the cake or the periphery of a picture. And it could be made up of anything. So framing something is basically, I like to take it more in the terms, or I'd like to use the definition more in terms of the picture, taking space and defining space. You understand? And in this case, I want to talk about defining mind space. So the mind is infinite. We think that, each one of us has, our individual little minds, and it's separate from other minds. It's like nobody is separate from anyone else. Quantum mechanics will tell you everything is entangled, which means everything is connected. And we experience ourselves as being separate from others. Now, I got a little meta on you, but that's simply to establish the idea that the mind is infinite, and just even our personal experiences are frames within that infinite network, basically. It's a way to establish boundaries so that you can have some kind of context. You understand? So framing in essence is boundaries and context. I'm about to burp. I'm trying to be about it. All right, that was disgusting. So anyway, framing has to do with boundaries and context. So what does that have to do in terms of, what you're talking about, Gabe? Well, what I'm talking about is simply you have the power to contextualize any experience in your life. You have the power to, through your thought, change the quality of the experience, change the contextualization of the experience, define the boundaries of the experience. This is what it is meant by control your mind, or someone else will. What is mind control? Establishing boundaries and context, but it's coming from an outside source, or what appears to be an outside source, meaning you're not taking that control of your mind. Someone else is creating the boundaries and context, and you're saying, oh, okay. And believe it or not, this is happening every single day. Every advertisement you watch, every TV show you watch, every movie you watch, everything that you hear that's repeated, in every institution in the world is a form of establishing those boundaries and creating that context. And for those of you, or for those people, excuse me, because I know nobody that watches my lives are weak-minded, but for those that simply just accept the story that's told to them, the story that defines the boundaries and creates the context, just without question, are many times people that are considered to be under what we would call mind control. Now, mind control seems to be an extreme term, because what we've been told mind control is the boundaries and the context that have been established mainly through movies is someone that's completely zombified and just walking around with no awareness of anything, and only, people that are, taken over by magic, and, the heroes, it's like, hey man, it's me. Don't you recognize me? The power of love will break the spell. We've all seen those TV shows. We've all seen those movies. And that is an extreme form of what mind control is from an outside source. In many ways, if you believe something without questioning it, that can be a form of mind control from an outside source. So what I'm here to share with you, something that I'm learning, and for those of you that are hanging with me, congratulations, because I'm redundant on purpose. But for those of you that are hanging with me, I'm glad that you're hanging with me, because you can actually, what I would like to establish is that you can actually control your own mind. You can actually establish the boundaries and the context of every experience in your life. You can do that yourself. You don't need somebody to establish the boundaries and context of your life outside of yourself for every experience, especially those pivotal and crucial experiences in your life where only you can make the right decision for your life. So you got to frame it. So just to keep it 100 with you right now, I'm in a turning point in my life. I mean, there's a lot of turning points in life, especially now with the vibration of the planet just going higher and higher every single day. Every single day I'm getting, a revelation about the nature of life and, the nature of my existence and just existence in general. And I'm just feeling it and I'm loving it. But there are times that, don't feel so good. And I always realized that every time I suffered in life was when I took the boundaries and the context imposed upon me by other people and projected it onto my experience. So we have people that say, oh, I'm just so stupid. I'm just so this, I'm so that. And it's like, I am smart. Had to recover that one. But just for the sake of example, you have people that will, say that to themselves. Well, they're saying that to themselves because someone else said it to them when they were at a crucial point in their development, in consciousness, in their physical development, maybe from childhood to teenagehood, from teenagehood to adulthood. Someone said that to them repeatedly, over and over and over again. And many times it comes from, early childhood influences, the people that established the boundaries and the context of our behavior, of our experience. And we take that into our adulthood, no matter how old we get. And so a lot of what adulthood is, as a small digression, a lot of what adulthood is deprogramming, and reprogramming the bullshit that our parents gave us. And it's not their fault. They were programmed with bullshit by their parents and so on and so on. But that's essentially, at this stage of humanity, that is essentially what adulthood is. Deprogramming and reprogramming the bullshit that our parents put in our heads. And so right now I'm in a turning point in my life where things may not look a certain way that I think that they should look. And because I'm more aware of myself, I know exactly the decisions I've made to get into, a less than ideal position in many different areas of my life. And so, I was feeling depressed for many weeks because, I was guilting myself and flagellating myself, mentally for not making the right decisions, knowing that that wasn't productive, but I was still doing it, because you get some kind of subconscious emotional reward from it. And so the intuitive message I kept getting was, you have to reframe your experience 100%. Reframe your experience. And so I knew that I had to get my mind into a space where I could change the boundaries and the context, because if I didn't change the boundaries and the context of my experience, I would end up in a very bad place according to my context and boundaries. So I'd rather go to a good place. So I have to change the boundaries and the context. I have to frame my experience differently. I have to do public relations on myself, basically. I have to advertise myself to myself. I have to advertise a different version of this experience to myself. And so I began to go to work on that. And so that's why I'm sharing this with you. It's like I'm not sharing these things with you guys because I'm a fucking millionaire. I'm not sharing these things with you guys because I'm Tony Robbins. I'm sharing these things with you guys because I'm living it right now. And I think that the time is now to be sharing all this beautiful shit because, it's like, sure, when I become the person, when I become fully realized in my desires, sure, I will definitely say, hey, man, I'm an expert. At this point right now, I want you guys to see that I'm going through this. I am not perfect. And it's not the goal. Okay, so end of the day, I had to reframe my experience. And I had to realize that my experience is, I'm in charge of it, period. And so are you. And so that's pretty much what I wanted to leave you guys with. I know that it might have been a little weird to hear me say the same words over and over and over. And, but, thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for being here. And take charge of your experience by reframing it because your thoughts and emotions shape your reality. The more that you become grounded in that law of the universe, the more that you will begin to appreciate the responsibility you have over your own life. All right, you guys.